to an hour. But like I was saying, I think you couldn't hear me, but even Muay Thai is now trying to get some elements from the way karate teaches young kids. And the younger age groups, when you go to see their tournaments, they have a full body armor on, no head kicks, no head punches, those kind of things.
Yeah,
But at the same time, the scoring is still Muay Thai scoring. That's 9, 10 rounds. You win the round, you get 10 points. You lose, you
in
get
a
10
way
rounds.
it's good. In a way it's good, right? Because we'll have less injuries for kids, right? I strongly encourage anyone who does martial arts for kids who are like between 5 to 12 or 5 to 13. We should play safe, I would say. But I've seen videos in Thailand where they bang each other, even
That's
small
brutal.
kids like 8 years old.
That's brutal. Like,
Level.
yeah, every time I
That's
see that,
brutal.
I imagine
No,
my son going in and doing that. I'm like, no,
no.
not now. Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like it's not really good, but that's my personal opinion, right? We never know.
right.
But those guys are the one who are the strongest right now. But long term disadvantages, we never know when they're 50, 60. That's a different game altogether. But yeah, but for me, when I train, I for me it's very important that injuries in the last. So I set up the dojo in Bangalore back in 2015. Now we are 2024, right? So it's the ninth year of my coaching here in Bangalore. Um, Train more than 80, 90 students. I have active students more than 50 right now. Obviously, COVID played a big role. After COVID, like 80% of my students dropped out, and then I got now coming back. But for me, I would say hardly 3 to 4 injuries in the last 9 years, and not any major one. Hardly, I think one. I would say a hairline fracture to the arm is like the brutal one that we can tell right now. But I would say that's very amazing for me as a coach to not have so much, because I do a lot of full contact training as well. But we somehow managed to not have injuries, and I think it's very important, especially someone who is 6 years, 8 years, 10 years. It's not a good thing to have a lot of injuries. Right? One, they'll get demotivated. Second, it's not healthy for them. Right. So yeah, that's what I was telling my wife also, who is now training martial arts with me. She's a yellow belt in taekwondo. Yeah, she started. She did karate back in the school, and she was a green belt, and she's now training with me. So I hope after a couple of years, she'll also be a partner in with me as a black belt, right? But I was telling her as well. Eventually, when she goes, our first priority, especially for smaller children, is that injury prevention, right? That's very important, because if it happens, uh, first of all, they get demotivated. Second is not, we don't know, like, if we train at that level with a lot of injuries, that means one day it'll go out of control. And if something happens, that's not a good look for us as well, right? So that's one thing that I prioritize, and I always urge all the instructors out there to make sure that if you deal with juniors or kids, be extremely careful. That's something that we have to focus.
That is great advice. And you are a great example of doing that. So full contact, right? At the same time, making sure injury prevention is clear to that. That's so important because once it puts them in a situation where they have to push themselves to perform better. It's not just like a sport karate anymore. But at the same time, if they are not injured because of that, then they not get at the back of their head when they have to face the situation. So yeah, kudos to you on doing that. That is amazing. Uh, and
Yeah.
one of the things I noticed out here, even out in the US, most young kids don't take a full contact. But right now, there's a 12-year-old girl who is Muay Thai, and she's going to the VSE Muay Thai festival at the next month. So she's partnering with adult
You said 12-year-old. You
years.
said 12-year-old kid
Yes,
doing Muay Thai.
yes. And she's
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
passed with
Okay.
adult,
And she's doing WBC Muay Thai champion.
and she's passed with adult mixed martial arts. But the coach makes sure and he was like, no, she can go as hard as she wants and be by the rules. And one of the fights she had in the US invitation for the WBC event, she knocked her opponent out in 7 seconds. And no hits, no punches, but she still 9 body shots, 7 seconds. Because she was keeping that revenge, she was used to that kind of intensity. And there is okay, fine, yeah, that actually made a big difference for her to be in that position where she was able to start well, but at the same time she was able to start really, really intensely. So I think when kids are put in that position, they sometimes really surprise you with what they can do.
Yeah, I kind of understood the gist of what you said, but again, there is a voice disruption.
Okay.
But yeah, I understood what you said. Yeah. So yeah, that's the thing, right? So I have one individual who trains in MMA in my gym. So she's like 22 years old, and she does a bit of kickboxing and then a bit of MMA too. So I recently had a training camp for my students, karate students, and for brown belts. So like 12 years old, 13 years old, I used to have them spar with that kickboxing girl, and they couldn't really believe that this kid is only 12 years old, because the training, obviously if you start doing a lot of full contact training for someone who already knows karate, obviously kicks will come really fast, and if you add power to those kicks and punches, it's a different ball game, right? So, that is what I envision for my senior students, that whatever you learn up to brown belt, now add more power to it, more contact to it, and the old style training, right? Kick through it or punch through it rather than just pulling it back. So I see the difference in my own eyes when I make them spar with like 10 years older kids, and then they really feel the difference, right? This, they don't really believe the age, it's just that they're too fast and strong for them.
Right.
So yeah. So what you mentioned about the 12-year-old kid who is WSE Muay Thai, they can really defeat someone who doesn't train at all. 100% sure they can manage it.
Right.
Martial arts is like, it's people who doesn't know martial arts, they think it's all just a game, but once you are in there, and then once you start learning it and you start fighting, then you realize the training really helps, right?
Right.
Your video is frozen, man. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Ragesh. Unfortunately, can you hear me, Ragesh? Ragesh, can